So what constitutes a tuned car? Does it have to be modded by the owner? What if the manufacturer takes one of their own cars and tunes it? Because that's kind of exactly what we have here. The Volkswagen Golf R and the Ford Focus RS. Both of these manufacturers have taken their respective practical hatchbacks and made them sharp, all-wheel drive rockets. They both have sophisticated systems that send power to the rear wheels. They both have punchy turbocharged engines, but they are not the same. After driving these two cars, only one left a serious impression on me.
Let's take a look at the Volkswagen Golf R first. What do we have here? We have an all-wheel drive, 292 horsepower hatchback, which is a very cool concept when you think about it. This is like the flagship Volkswagen Golf car. I am not a huge fan of the exterior styling. I'll be honest, it's not as exciting as the Ford Focus RS. From the back, it looks really cool. It's got a really nice rear end, but it looks a little bit understated for something that's supposed to be their like super sporty hot hatch. The other thing that I've noticed about this car after driving it for a little bit is that it takes itself very seriously. It's very German. The horsepower number, let's just look at that right off the bat. 292. That's very specific. That's a very specific horsepower number. I can imagine there was a meeting that happened at some point where someone said, "We will give it 292 horsepower and not a horsepower more." Maybe there was someone at the meeting that said, "Can we give it maybe 8 more horsepower and just make it 300? 9! 9 more horsepower? 9 means no!" Right? I just kind of picture that being how this car went down. Why not give it 300 horsepower? We obviously know, a little bit of tuning, you could put this thing over 300 horsepower with not much difficulty. So what's up with 292? As I said, it just takes itself a little bit too seriously. Its road manners are very similar to that too. It feels very planted and not ultra exciting. However, at the same time, the rest of it is German in a really good way. The interior of the car is awesome. The digital readout with my speed here is easy to see, really cool looking. The steering wheel is fantastic. The fit and finish is just amazing. The seats are comfortable. Even with all the fancy stuff they've done to this car, with the all-wheel drive and everything, it is still a Golf, and it reminds me of just a basic Golf. I recently toured through Europe with a little Golf diesel on some of the most amazing roads I've ever driven on, and this chassis feels very similar to that. Obviously a lot sharper, and the all-wheel drive really helps, but it's still a Golf, which makes it just a nice little car to drive. And then when you really want, yeah, there's power. Whee! Yeah, a fun amount of power, not an unbelievable amount of power, just like an exciting amount, way more than a normal car. Winding road for 4 kilometers, saw a sign. Now we're talking. Okay, so this has a 50% torque split, front to back. It has a Haldex system, which is some Swedish engineering, same as on the Saab cross-wheel drive, actually. So it can only ever, at the most, put 50% of the power to the rear, which isn't as good as the Focus RS, which can put up to 70% of the power to the rear. And it has brake-based torque vectoring, which isn't as good as the Focus RS. As you hit the apex of the corner, as you start to pull in around, it will brake the inside tire to allow more torque to go to the outside tire. So it kind of pushes you around the corner. And even though it's using brakes to make you go faster, I'll be honest, it works quite well. I just put my foot down around that hairpin and it just gripped and pulled me through. It's very well sorted on these hairpins here. Not much drama, which in some sense makes it not that exciting. It's just good. Good is the word that I would use to describe it. But it's not scaring me. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So on these little back roads, this is a really great little car. I have been told, however, that once you get it on an autocross course or on the track, it all falls apart. I think that the limit of that all-wheel drive system with the brake-based torque vectoring, that is going to be the major issue on the track, I think. It's just not going to allow you to really rotate the car properly. Now, I am on Michelin Pilot Super Sports with some aftermarket wheels, so I do have more grip than usual. Apparently, the tires that come on the car are not that good, so this is a slightly upgraded Golf R. Yeah, so in a fast sweeper, what happens is that you feel the front start to push, and then you feel the system start to pull it back in and push and pull it back in. It's supposed to be immediate, but that's not really the experience that I'm getting right here, right now.
I want to be clear that the Golf R is a wonderful car, and I had a great time driving it on these back roads. I would be a happy man if I got to drive one of these every day. But the major problem with it was that I drove it back to back with this. Just look at it. Look how blue it is. Let's find out what it's like on these back roads, shall we?
And now we are in the Ford Focus RS. Right away, you'll notice that the ride isn't as good, the interior isn't as good, the seating position is terrible. I'm like 400 meters into the sky. The seats are really comfortable, very well bolstered, and they fit my body perfectly, but I'm so high, I feel like I'm so high up. And pretty much the bad stuff ends there. The theme of the day is going to be more. The Focus RS just has more of everything. Better. More and better. We've got 350 horsepower, a 2.3 liter engine, see, more. It has better steering, it has sharper suspension, it has better throttle response, it has a better sound. Everything about it is just better right away. So I've got it in sport mode right now, which makes the suspension tolerable for a road like this. If you put it in race, which I'll show you in a second, sharpens everything up a little bit, but it makes the ride almost unbearable. On the track, it would be perfect, right? But right now we're on a road. The Golf is much more composed. Everything about it is a little bit smoother, but I don't care. I don't want smooth. I want this. Oh, here's the backfires. Woohoo, hairpin. Oh, it's just sharper. Corner, ooh, that's tight. Oh, there goes the back a little bit. Now, the reason that it's so easy to get the back to move, it won't let you move very far, I've got traction control completely on, is because we have a much better all-wheel drive system in this. This is a proper all-wheel drive system, okay? So it's called the Twinster system, and it has an overdrive gear in the rear differential, which has proper clutch packs, by the way, and it can put up to 70% of the drive to the back. See, 50% in the Golf, 70% in this, more. Just on a road like this, you can tell. When you push it through a corner, it feels so much flatter. It feels so much better balanced. Oh, those backfires. That's cool. What mode am I in right now? That's in sport mode. All right, we're in track mode now. Ooh, downshift, it crackles. Crackles on the upshift into third. Yeah, this is a quick car. It feels faster than the Golf, without a question. It sounds much better too. It's louder on the inside, but it's not so loud that it's obnoxious. Okay, and now that I'm in this mode, the suspension is just so stiff. Yeah, the shifter feels good. Oh, the turning radius is terrible. I thought the turning radius in the Golf was bad. Oh, backfires. It sounds good. This is a fun car. Now, so the way that I understand it with the all-wheel drive system is that It's electronically controlled, which means if there is no traction in the front, so there's no torque available to go to the front, it can, in theory, send 100% of the power to any one of the rear wheels. So it's not just 70%. That just means that it's geared over to 70%. So the idea is that these clutch packs on either side of the rear diff are constantly spinning, and they're essentially slipping and constantly until they are electro-hydraulically engaged, and then they can shunt power to the wheel that's going to give you the best line through the corner. That is active torque vectoring, which is better than brake-based torque vectoring, which is on the Golf R. And even on a little backward like this, you can feel that, and it becomes something that makes the car immediately more enjoyable to drive if you push it just a little bit. Like, the Golf R is very composed and it's very exciting, but this is just more. It's just better. I'm having too much fun in this car. Oh, man. Oh, oops, left it in third. No problem. I've got the torque. 350 pound-feet of it. The steering is very, very accurate. It's still obviously electric steering, but I don't have an issue with it. It weights up well, communicates what's going on the road, and it is so accurate. It's a really, really, really good ratio. It's not variable. And, oh God, the turning radius is terrible. 3-pointer. That should have been a U-turn in essentially any other car I think I've ever driven other than a bus. If you can get over the harsh ride on the road and the interior and the fact that the little gauges up at the top here look like they're from a toy, then this is easily the choice to have. I know it's more money than the Golf R, but value for money, way better. Way, way better. If you're a car manufacturer and you're going to make what you would consider to be your flagship car of a sector, would you not want to do it like Ford did? Go all out? Give it the best four-wheel drive system that they can get? Give it huge brakes, super accurate steering, and just awesome styling? It almost seems like Volkswagen, I don't know, what did they do? Maybe they didn't try hard enough. It's still a very good car, but the brake-based torque vectoring and open differential in the front and the back, and their flagship hot hatch with all-wheel drive, I don't know. I thought that they could have done a little bit better than that. If you're gonna buy a car that's gonna be your one car that you can carry around the kids, the groceries, you can run errands in, and then you can take it to the track, wouldn't you want it to be this good? I would. It could be a little bit nicer and a little bit more comfortable, yes, but there's trade-offs everywhere. And in this car, the trade-offs are so very worth it.
I love the fact that both Volkswagen and Ford have taken their respective hatchbacks and done to them what I would do if I bought a base model and wanted to tune it. But if we are comparing how well they did, turning their hatches into track toys, Ford wins, hands down. It does cost more money, and really in the end, both of these are amazing little hatchbacks. But if you are more concerned about performance than comfort, then the Ford is worth it. In fact, I think I might even take it over an STI.